Hey guys, tonight we're wandering down the warm, sun-dappled streets of ancient Egypt to visit a humble bakery by the banks of the Nile. Picture this. Dawn's first golden rays slipping between mud-brick houses, the sweet scent of baking bread drifting through narrow alleyways, and you, half asleep, trying not to trip over a donkey as you shuffle forward in the sand. You probably won't survive this bread-making marathon, at least not without a sunburn and a new appreciation for ancient carbs. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop your location and what time you're listening in the comments. I'd love to know if you're baking alongside us or just dozing off in the cozy glow of your phone screen. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're already squinting in the dusty haze as the first bakery worker. He's just a boy, really, shuffles past with a basket balanced precariously on his head. It's overflowing with warm loaves, each one still steaming slightly in the cool morning air. You can almost taste the earthy aroma, sweet and nutty, with a faint tang of the yeast that's been bubbling since last night. It's a scent that wraps around you like a soft blanket. The bakery is nothing fancy, just a low, flat-roofed structure. Its walls made from sun-baked mud bricks that crackle softly as the first rays of light creep over them. Inside, it's chaos in slow motion. Bakers in linen kilts dart between towering stacks of dough, while a single rooster outside crows its morning song. You rub your eyes, willing them to adjust to the smoky glow of oil lamps that flicker lazily, casting gentle shadows across the faces of workers who've already been at this since well before dawn. Here in Egypt, bread isn't just a snack. It's the backbone of survival, and everyone knows it. The loaves are small and squat, shaped by hand with practiced care. Their crusts dusted with a thin film of flour that seems to float on the air like desert sand. You reach out to touch one, a round, dimpled loaf with a slightly charred bottom, and feel the gentle warmth seep into your fingertips. Historians still argue whether these early morning baking scenes were purely domestic affairs or carefully orchestrated state-run operations. Some even say that these humble bakers were the unsung heroes of the pharaoh's economy, feeding everyone from the humblest farmer to the high priests of the temples. You watch as the master baker, a wiry man with skin as tanned as the bread's crust, oversees the entire operation with an easy authority. He winks at you as if to say, "Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it soon enough." A light joke bubbles in your mind. Who knew ancient Egypt had its own version of Gordon Ramsay, minus the angry swearing? You trudge across the hard-packed dirt floor, your feet crunching over scattered grains of emmer wheat, Egypt's go-to grain for bread making. The workers' feet move in a steady, rhythmic dance, patting and folding dough with a precision born from centuries of repetition. It's almost meditative, the way their hands sink into the pliant dough, coaxing it into smooth rounds that glisten with a hint of oil. A burst of laughter echoes through the bakery as one apprentice accidentally drops a loaf into the ash pit. Oops, ancient toast. You can't help but chuckle at the sight of him sheepishly fishing it out with a long wooden paddle. Even back then, kitchen mishaps were part of the daily grind. Meanwhile, the head baker is already checking the fire, adjusting the clay dome oven to just the right temperature. You feel the warmth on your face as he slides a fresh loaf inside, the flickering flames licking the rounded walls of the oven in a hypnotic dance. It's said these ovens were modeled on ancient beehives, small, hot, and remarkably efficient at turning wet dough into crisp, golden loaves. As you lean closer, you catch a whiff of something sweet and spicy, a hint of honey and coriander, maybe, or the faint aroma of date syrup, which some bakers like to swirl into the dough for a richer flavor. It's enough to make your stomach growl softly, even in the sleepy calm of the morning. And just when you think you've soaked up all the comfort of this ancient bakery, a grizzled old baker shuffles past, mumbling about the good old days, when the river never flooded too high and the flour was always fresh. You smile to yourself. Some things never change, even after thousands of years. You're caught in this warm, yeasty embrace of the ancient world, your fingers idly tracing the crust of a loaf that's older than any pyramid you'll ever see. Outside, the Nile murmurs softly in the distance, Its calm waters a quiet lullaby that promises safety and sleep, at least for now. You lean back, feeling the weight of the early morning settle around your shoulders like a soft blanket. The crackle of the oven, the gentle murmur of the bakers, and the scent of bread rising. Each sound and smell blends together, a symphony of sleepiness in the heart of an ancient city. And you realize, with a sleepy little smile, that you've stumbled into the perfect bedtime story. One filled with flour-dusted dreams, warm bread, and the gentle laughter of those who've been kneading dough since the dawn of time. You're still blinking the flour dust from your lashes as you step deeper into the bakery's warm, yeasty glow. Around you, the rhythm of the day has fully taken hold. The low thump of dough against stone, the soft sighs of bakers bent over wooden boards, and the ever-present hum of an ancient ritual repeating itself. You're pulled into this slow dance of the bakery, each movement deliberate and unhurried, like the heartbeat of a civilization that knows the importance of patience. This morning's work is all about the dough. You watch as the bakers work in pairs, passing lumps of the sticky mixture between them in a careful choreography that's been honed for generations. They knead and fold, coaxing the dough into a smooth, elastic mass that will hold its shape in the fierce heat of the oven. Your fingers itch to join them, to feel that warm, slightly tacky dough beneath your palms. Like wet clay, but alive. They tell you, half joking, half solemn, that each loaf is a tiny offering to the gods. A humble prayer baked in wheat and water. It's a notion that makes you smile, even as you press your hands into the soft, yielding dough. Historians still argue whether these daily bread-making rituals had spiritual significance or were simply the work of hungry bellies. You suspect it's a bit of both. You're struck by the way the bakers talk to the dough, whispering to it as if it's a cranky old friend. "Easy now," one mutters as he slaps the dough against the table, a puff of flour blooming into the warm air like a lazy cloud. Another baker closes her eyes, almost as if she's listening to the dough's soft sighs. It's funny, you've heard of bread whisperers, but you didn't realize they were a real thing. The flour itself is a marvel, emmer wheat, ground coarse and still flecked with tiny bits of bran. It clings to your fingertips, a soft reminder that this bread isn't just a meal, it's history. The grindstone nearby turns slowly, methodically, as a young girl feeds handfuls of grain into its mouth. She hums under her breath, a tune older than the kingdom's pharaohs, and you feel yourself drifting along with the melody. A wry grin tugs at your lips when the apprentice leans in to share an old baker's tale. Apparently, if you knead the dough too quickly, the gods will make sure your loaves come out as flat as a sandal. You wonder how many times that story has been told in this very spot, each telling a gentle nudge to take things slow. And you do take it slow. You lose yourself in the warm press of dough beneath your hands, the gentle drag of flour across your skin, the low murmur of voices around you. It's a meditation, really, one that leaves your mind soft and pliant just like the dough you're working. As you lift your head, you notice a small clay figurine tucked into a niche in the wall. It's the household god of this bakery, a squat little figure with a crooked smile. Someone's tied a bit of linen around its neck, a humble offering to keep the ovens hot and the bread rising true. It's said that even the smallest household god can wield mighty power, especially when you're dealing with finicky yeast. Speaking of yeast, it's the lifeblood of this whole operation. Here, yeast isn't carefully measured out in tidy spoons or packets. No, it's a living thing, caught from the air, nurtured in bubbling jars that sit by the riverbank, growing fat and happy in the warm Egyptian sun. You lean over one of these jars now, watching the thick, foamy surface pop and hiss like a tiny volcano. It smells faintly sweet, with a hint of something wild and untamed. Historians still puzzle over how these ancient bakers managed to cultivate such reliable yeast cultures. Some say it was pure luck, others claim the bakers had a secret, perhaps a scrap of fruit or a well-timed offering to the river itself. You take a deep breath, the yeasty tang filling your nose and pulling you further into this gentle haze of history. The head baker, his name's Jed, winks at you as he folds the dough for the 100th time. "It's all in the hands," he says, his voice a low rumble like the river's current. "You've got to feel it, not just see it." He presses the dough with his knuckles, and you can almost see it give a tiny, contented sigh. You let your mind wander as you work, lulled by the slow rhythm of the bakery. Outside, the Nile glitters in the morning light, a silver thread winding through the fields of green and gold. Birds will lazily overhead, their cries a soft counterpoint to the murmurs inside. A gentle joke slips from your lips, half to yourself. If this is what bakers do all day, maybe I've missed my calling. One of the women nearby hears you and laughs softly, a sound like honey in the warm air. It's harder than it looks, she warns, her dark eyes sparkling with amusement. And she's right, of course. Your arms ache from the constant kneading, your fingers dusted white with flour that never seems to come off. But there's a quiet satisfaction in this work, a sense that you're part of something much bigger than yourself, something ancient and endlessly comforting. As the dough finally takes shape, you feel a tiny spark of pride. This small golden lump is your link to every baker who's ever come before you. Every loaf a small testament to patience, to care, to the slow, steady heartbeat of life in a world that's always just a little too fast. You set the dough aside to rise, watching as the small cracks in its surface swell and smooth out, like tiny miracles unfolding in the warmth. The air smells sweet with yeast and hope, and you know you're exactly where you're meant to be. Here, in this sleepy Egyptian bakery, where the day's first bread is born in 1,000 careful touches. You ease back against the warm clay walls, your palms still tingling with the memory of the dough's soft give. Around you, the bakery settles into a deeper rhythm, a gentle hum that seems to pulse through the very bricks. Outside, the sun is climbing steadily, casting long golden fingers through the narrow windows and washing the floor in soft light. And you, half lulled by the heady scent of rising bread, feel yourself drifting deeper into this ancient world. The master baker's voice cuts through the quiet. The secret's in the sand and the yeast, he says, his tone somewhere between a riddle and a bedtime story. You raise an eyebrow. Sand? Yeast? It sounds like a half-baked joke. But here in Egypt, it's serious business. You're about to find out why. The sand, it turns out, is more than just an endless desert stretching beyond the Nile. It's in everything here, dusting the floors, clinging to your hair, and, yes, even hiding in the bread. It grinds beneath your feet as you move, a reminder that in Egypt, you can't escape the desert's gentle, gritty embrace. And the yeast, oh, the yeast is practically alive. It's coaxed from the air itself, captured in those bubbling jars by the riverbank, nurtured and cajoled until it grows strong enough to lift even the heaviest of doughs. You watch as a young baker, no older than 16, leans over one of these jars, his brow furrowed in concentration. He's feeding it like a tiny pet, dropping in scraps of flour and murmuring softly to the frothy surface. You can't help but smile, yeast whisperers indeed. Historians still argue whether these early yeast cultures were discovered by accident, some careless baker leaving dough out overnight, or whether it was the result of careful observation, a kind of ancient science that's been lost to time. Either way, you're enchanted by the idea that each loaf here is the result of countless invisible lives, each bubble of gas a tiny act of rebellion against gravity. As you wander closer to the ovens, you notice something curious. A small pile of fine, pale sand tucked into a corner, almost like a little altar. For the bread, the baker explains with a wink. The sand helps keep the oven floor hot and smooth, like a soft bed for the bread to sleep on. You laugh softly at the image. A sleeping loaf, wrapped in a blanket of warm sand. You reach down to run your fingers through it, the grains warm and soft, slipping through your hands like water. It's a reminder that even in a world of fire and sweat, there's room for something gentle. The heat of the ovens is something else entirely. You lean in, feeling it brush your cheeks like a sunbeam, smelling the faint tang of charred crust and roasted grain. The bakers work with a kind of patient urgency, feeding loaves into the clay domes and coaxing them back out with long wooden paddles. Each loaf is a tiny triumph, crisp and dark, with a faint sheen of oil that catches the light like polished stone. There's a sweet, earthy scent rising from the bread now, mingling with the sharp tang of the river breeze drifting in through the open door. It's almost enough to make you forget the sweat clinging to your skin, the soft grit of sand between your toes. Almost. One of the bakers, an older man with a beard as white as the Nile's foam, leans over and confides in you. You know, some folks say the river itself taught us how to bake. The yeast comes from its water, the sand from its banks. It's all the Nile's gift. You glance out the door, where the river glitters like liquid silver, and you wonder if he's right. You find yourself drifting back to the idea of those invisible yeasts, the tiny lives working their quiet magic in the sticky darkness of the dough. It's humbling, in a way, this sense that even the smallest creatures can shape the world, one loaf at a time. And then there's the heat, the way it wraps around you, soaking into your bones like an embrace. You lean back, letting it sink in, your eyelids growing heavy as the rhythmic shuffle of feet and the low murmur of voices lull you deeper into this ancient ritual. There's something so soothing about the way the bakers move. No rush, no panic, just a quiet certainty that every loaf will find its place in the oven. Every crumb a testament to patience. A small joke drifts through your mind. If modern kitchens had ovens this hot, there'd be no need for energy drinks. Just stand too close and you'll be awake all day. But even as you chuckle softly, you know this heat is more than just warmth. It's life. It's the gentle alchemy that turns wet dough into bread, that fills the air with the soft sigh of yeast and the crackle of crust. And as you lean closer to the oven's mouth, you catch a glimpse of something else, an odd little tradition, passed down from one baker to another. A pinch of salt thrown into the fire, a whispered blessing to keep the loaves from cracking. Superstition, the head baker says with a shrug, but there's a twinkle in his eye that suggests he believes every word. You watch as the salt hisses in the flames, a tiny burst of white that vanishes almost as soon as it appears. It's a small thing, but it makes you smile. A secret handshake between the bakers and the fire itself. The loaves are coming out of the oven now, their crusts dark and crackling, the soft insides steaming gently in the cool morning air. You reach out to touch one, feeling the way it yields beneath your fingers, warm and alive. It's a simple pleasure, but in this moment, it feels like the most profound thing in the world. And so you stand there, surrounded by the scent of fresh bread and the low murmur of ancient voices, feeling the gentle weight of history settle around your shoulders. The sand, the yeast, the quiet magic of the ovens, all of it weaving together into a lullaby that's as old as the river itself. The morning light shifts slowly, slanting through the doorway in warm ribbons that dance across the flour-dusted floor. You wipe the sweat from your brow with the back of your hand, feeling the way the grit clings to your skin, and you're struck by the quiet, stubborn beauty of this place. Every breath you take is thick with the scent of baking bread and the earthy tang of yeast, a heady perfume that somehow makes the world feel softer, easier. One of the bakers sidles up to you with a twinkle in his eye. "Ever wonder why we drink beer and eat bread together?" he asks, his voice low and teasing. You tilt your head, curious, and he grins. Because they're twins born from the same mother, the same grains. He gestures with flour-dusted hands toward a row of clay jugs stacked neatly in a corner, their rounded bellies brimming with the cloudy, slightly sweet beer that the workers will sip as the day goes on. Historians still argue whether beer or bread came first, whether some ancient brewer stumbled across the magic of fermentation before a baker did, or whether they were always two sides of the same warm, bubbling coin. You suspect the truth is somewhere in between, a quiet truce between necessity and curiosity that shaped the daily life of every Egyptian who ever lived. You trail your fingers along the rim of one of the jugs, feeling the cool, slightly rough clay beneath your fingertips. The beer within is thick and a little sour, with a yeasty tang that mirrors the bread you've been shaping all morning. You can almost taste it, the way it fizzes softly on the tongue, a quiet echo of the fermenting dough. And it's not just for the bakers. Everyone in the city drinks it, from the highest priest to the humblest farmer, a shared ritual that binds them together like the woven reeds of a basket. As you stand there, the young apprentice, his cheeks flushed with heat and effort, leans in to share a secret. The leftover mash from brewing beer is sometimes stirred back into the bread dough, giving it a deep, malty sweetness that's almost intoxicating. You grin at the thought, Ancient bread, slightly tipsy, a little mischievous. No wonder the workers look so content as they tear off steaming chunks of bread and wash it down with warm sips of beer. There's something so earthy, so delightfully human about this cycle. Nothing wasted, everything shared. The yeast that lifts the bread is the same that foams in the beer, the same breath of life in every loaf and jug. It's a quiet poetry that threads through each motion here, as comforting as the heat of the ovens and the soft lull of voices rising and falling like the river's own song. You wander over to where the bakers have gathered, jugs in hand, the soft clink of pottery a gentle music in the haze of the bakery. They drink slowly, savoring each sip, the way the beer cools their parched throats and smooths the dust from their voices. One of them raises his jug in a sleepy salute. To the bread! And you find yourself smiling, the warm glow of the moment seeping into your bones. Outside, the Nile gleams in the shifting light, its surface rippling like the scales of a lazy crocodile sunning itself on the riverbank. You catch a faint breeze drifting through the open doorway, carrying with it the sharp scent of mud and papyrus, the promise of another day unfolding just beyond the bakery walls. But here, in this close, flower-scented world, time seems to slow to a gentle crawl. A soft chuckle escapes you as you remember the head baker's earlier claim, "We don't just feed the body, we feed the spirit too." It sounds like something out of a dusty scroll, but in the hush of the bakery, it rings true. Each loaf, each jug, each soft sigh of the yeast. There's a kind of quiet magic in it, a spell that binds the past to the present in every sleepy bite. You watch as the apprentice carefully ladles out a bit of beer, pouring it into a wide, shallow bowl. He dips a crust of bread into it, his fingers quick and sure, and offers it to you with a shy grin. You take a bite, the bread warm and a little tangy, the beer washing over it with a soft fizz that tickles the back of your throat. It's simple, but it's enough. A small, perfect moment that tastes like laughter and river water and the gentle weight of centuries. There's an easy camaraderie here, a warmth that seeps into your bones and settles there like the drowsy heat of the ovens. The baker's laughter is low and gentle, their movements unhurried as they pass the jugs back and forth, their voices weaving stories that are older than any pyramid. You lean back, letting the sound wash over you like a lullaby, your eyelids growing heavy with the slow, sweet rhythm of it all. And in this quiet, beer-scented dawn, you find a kind of peace you didn't know you were searching for, a sense that here, in this ancient, flower-dusted place, every worry can be kneaded smooth and every crumb of doubt can be fed to the warm, bubbling yeast of hope. The gentle buzz of the bakery hums around you as you lean against a low shelf stacked high with clay bowls. The heat of the ovens mingles with the faint breeze drifting in from the river, carrying with it the earthy tang of wet reeds and something else. Something sharp and pungent that wrinkles your nose even as you smile in sleepy amusement. You glance over to see a young baker smearing something onto his arms and face, his skin glistening with a thick, greenish paste. "What in the world is that?" you ask, half laughing, half curious. He grins back at you, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "Crocodile dung," he says with a wink, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. "Best sunscreen there is. Keeps the sun off and the flies away." You blink, unsure if he's joking or not, but the earnest look on his face makes you suspect he's dead serious. Ancient Egypt's answer to SPF 50? You stifle a giggle and decide maybe you'll just stick to the shade. Historians still puzzle over the curious mixture of beauty rituals and practical hacks in the lives of these bakers. From coal-lined eyes to dung-based sunscreens, every day was a balancing act between comfort and practicality. You imagine how those gritty, pungent pastes must have smelled, and you're glad your nose is too full of fresh bread sent to care too much. Meanwhile, a small commotion has broken out near the ovens. One of the apprentices, clearly still half asleep, has managed to misjudge the heat and pull out a loaf that's blackened and smoking. The other bakers chuckle softly, shaking their heads as they nudge the burnt offering aside. You catch a few good-natured jokes about Ra's breakfast, the sun god himself presumably too busy to mind a little extra char. The head baker's voice drifts over to you, low and reassuring. "We all burn a loaf now and then," he says, his tone as warm as the loaves themselves. The trick is to remember, no loaf is truly wasted. Even the mistakes teach us something. You nod, feeling the simple wisdom of his words settle into your bones like the heat of the oven's glow. You watch as the young apprentice sets aside his charred loaf, his shoulders drooping for just a moment before he picks up another lump of dough. There's no scolding, no harsh words, just the quiet understanding that in this world of yeast and fire, perfection is a myth and practice is everything. There's something so comforting in that, like a gentle lullaby woven from flour and sweat, reminding you that every misstep is just another step forward in the dance of life. You breathe in the warm, yeasty air, the scent of fresh loaves mingling with the faint, smoky perfume of burnt crust, and you feel your eyelids grow heavy again, lulled by the soft rhythm of the bakery's heartbeat. A tiny insect buzzes past your ear, an uninvited guest drawn by the sweetness of the rising dough. You wave it away absent-mindedly, your fingers brushing against a rough patch of the bakery's wall. The mud bricks are cool and slightly damp, a reminder that even in this dry, sun-baked world, water is life. The Nile's soft murmur drifts through the open doorway, a gentle counterpoint to the crackle of the oven's fire. You smile to yourself as you remember the baker's joke about the river's yeast. It's a comforting thought that every loaf of bread carries within it a whisper of the Nile's ancient song, a melody older than memory, older than time itself. And in that moment, you realize that this bakery is more than just a place to feed hungry mouths. It's a place of gentle humor, of quiet camaraderie and shared mistakes, of whispered jokes and half-sung prayers to gods with names older than any you've ever heard. It's a place where even the smallest crumb carries a story, and every loaf, no matter how misshapen or scorched, is a testament to the patient, sleepy magic of human hands. You watch the apprentice carefully start over with a fresh piece of dough, his movements slower now, more deliberate. The head baker nods at him, a small smile playing at the corners of his lips. There's no rush, no scolding, just the soft shuffle of feet on the flour-dusted floor and the gentle weight of a lesson learned. You lean back again, your head resting against the cool wall, and let the sounds and smells of the bakery lull you deeper into this warm, flour-scented dream. The low murmur of voices, the crackle of the fire, the quiet laughter at another small mishap. It all blends together, a sleepy symphony that wraps around you like a soft blanket. And in that quiet moment, you realize that even in the most ancient of places, even in the smallest of bakeries, there's room for a little silliness, a little humanity, and a whole lot of bread. The warmth of the bakery settles deeper into your bones as the morning sun climbs higher, its light spilling across the dusty floor like honey. The scent of bread is thick in the air, comforting, almost hypnotic, and you find yourself drifting closer to the low altar near the ovens. A single loaf, perfectly formed and golden brown, rests there, a humble offering to the gods, a quiet prayer in crust and crumb. You kneel beside it, your fingers brushing the soft, still warm crust. It's a simple loaf, nothing fancy. No sweet honey or dates, no fragrant coriander, but it's perfect in its simplicity, a silent testament to the quiet devotion of the bakers who shaped it. In ancient Egypt, bread isn't just food. It's a bridge between the world of mortals and the realm of the divine. Historians still debate whether these offerings were meant to feed the gods or simply to thank them for the bounty of the harvest. Some whisper that the gods took the first bite in secret, leaving the rest to nourish those who labored in their name. Others claim the offering was more about the act itself, a humble, wordless poem of gratitude and hope. You watch as the head baker approaches, his steps slow and measured. He lifts the loaf with both hands, cradling it like something fragile and precious. His voice is soft, almost a murmur, as he bows his head. For the river, he says simply. For the sun. For the life that rises in every loaf. It's a quiet, solemn moment, but there's a kind of gentle humor in it too. A shared understanding that even the gods can't resist the smell of fresh bread. You imagine Ra himself, the sun god, peeking over the horizon just to catch a whiff of that warm, yeasty perfume. As the baker sets the loaf back down, you hear a soft chuckle from one of the apprentices. Careful, she teases. "The gods might get greedy and take the whole batch." The others laugh, their voices a gentle ripple of sound in the warm, flower-scented air. You smile, feeling that laughter settle into your chest, a soft, sleepy comfort that lulls you deeper into the gentle haze of the morning. You stand and wander back toward the ovens, your fingers tracing the rough edge of a clay jar filled with flour. The rhythmic shuffle of feet and the low murmur of voices wash over you like a lullaby, and you feel the weight of the night's dreams melting away in the warmth of the fire. Each loaf that slides from the oven is a quiet prayer, each crumb a testament to the patient hands that shaped it. One of the bakers, her hair tucked beneath a simple linen scarf, leans in to whisper a secret. "The best loaves," she says, "are always the ones baked with a smile." "If you're too angry," she warns with a wink, "the bread knows. It'll come out flat and sulky, just like you." You laugh softly, the sound mingling with the crackle of the fire and the gentle hush of the Nile just beyond the doorway. There's a kind of poetry in this place, a slow, steady heartbeat that ties each baker to the next, weaving them together like the reeds that line the riverbank. You feel it in the way the dough yields beneath your palms, in the soft give of the crust as you break it open, in the quiet pride that shines in every flour-dusted face. You wander to the edge of the bakery, peering out at the river glinting in the morning light. The water is calm, its surface broken only by the occasional ripple of a fish or the slow drift of a papyrus boat. You wonder if the gods are watching, their eyes hidden in the shimmer of the river's flow, their laughter echoing in the quiet splash of oars against water. A gentle breeze carries the scent of fresh bread and cool water, and you close your eyes for a moment, letting it wash over you. The world beyond the bakery fades to a soft blur, a dreamy haze of gold and blue and the faint, sweet taste of yeast on your tongue. You turn back just in time to see the head baker slide another loaf from the oven, its crust crackling softly in the cool morning air. He lifts it with practiced ease, his fingers steady and sure, and you marvel at the quiet confidence in his every movement. This is more than just baking. It's a kind of gentle magic, a slow, sleepy alchemy that turns flour and water and the breath of the river into something warm and comforting. The apprentice who burned his loaf earlier gives you a shy grin as he takes a fresh round of dough from the bench. "Third time's the charm," he says, his voice low and a little embarrassed. You offer him an encouraging smile, the soft weight of the bakery's warmth settling around you like a blanket. You know now that every loaf here is more than just bread. It's a prayer, a promise, and a quiet hope for tomorrow. And as the bakers shape each round of dough with patient hands and soft laughter, you feel yourself drawn deeper into this ancient rhythm, each breath a sleepy echo of the Nile's gentle lullaby. The day stretches on, the sun's bright fingers slipping further into the bakery's warm gloom. You find yourself drawn to the ovens, massive clay domes that glow softly in the half-light, each one a little volcano of heat and promise. The scent of fresh loaves curls around you, a sleepy siren song that drifts through the smoky air. The bakers work with a quiet, unhurried grace, their movements smooth and practiced as they tend to the ovens. You watch them carefully, how they check the temperature by pressing their palms to the clay, how they read the oven's gentle sighs and crackles like a bedtime story written in embers. Historians still argue whether these Egyptian ovens, called taboons, were modeled after the beehives of the countryside, or if the idea was borrowed from wandering traders who brought secrets of fire and heat from distant lands. You like the idea of beehives better, soft and rounded, each one buzzing with quiet purpose. You lean in closer to one of the ovens, feeling the heat kiss your cheeks, the scent of bread and smoke settling around you like a drowsy embrace. The head baker is there, his eyes half closed in concentration as he slides a fresh loaf into the oven's glowing mouth. He hums under his breath, a low, tuneless murmur that seems to blend with the crackle of the flames and the soft sigh of the river just beyond the doorway. You watch as he reaches for a small, flat paddle, its edges darkened by years of use, and gently coaxes the loaf into place. There's a kind of reverence in his movements, a slow, deliberate care that speaks of a lifetime spent coaxing beauty from flour and fire. The ovens themselves are wonders, each one lined with soft sand that glows faintly in the heat, a bed for the loaves to rest on as they bake. You can see the way the sand shifts and shimmers, a gentle ripple that seems to echo the river's slow song. The bakers swear the sand keeps the bread from sticking, that it smooths the bottom crust into a soft, even gold. There's a kind of magic in it, you think. A quiet, stubborn magic that turns the harsh, unyielding heat of the desert into something tender and sweet. The bread that emerges from these ovens is like a promise, its crust crackling softly as it cools, each crumb a warm breath in the cool air. One of the apprentices, his face smudged with soot and sweat, leans over and whispers, "The ovens sing, you know." You raise an eyebrow, intrigued, and he grins. If you listen close, you can hear them. Each loaf has its own song. You tilt your head, listening, and for a moment, you swear you can hear it too. A soft, sleepy murmur beneath the crackle of the fire. It's a sound older than memory, older than the river itself. A lullaby woven from flour and heat, the gentle music of bread becoming. A sudden laugh breaks the spell as another apprentice pulls a loaf a little too soon, the crust still pale and soft. Impatient, the head baker teases with a warm smile. Bread needs time, just like everything else. You nod, feeling the truth of it settle deep in your bones. There's no rushing the quiet magic of the ovens, no shortcut to the soft, sweet heart of the bread. You lean back against the wall, the warm clay pressing into your shoulders as you let the sleepy music of the bakery wash over you. Outside, the Nile sparkles in the midday light, a slow, shimmering river that seems to stretch on forever. And inside, the ovens crackle and sigh, their gentle breath a lullaby that drifts through the flour-dusted air. The head baker lifts another loaf from the oven, its crust dark and fragrant, the soft steam curling into the smoky half-light. He breaks it open, the crumbs soft and tender, and offers you a piece. You take it with a quiet smile, feeling the warmth of the bread seep into your fingers. It's a simple thing, a crust of bread, a mouthful of history, but it tastes like a blessing. A soft joke bubbles up in your mind, something about how these bakers must have had arms of steel and hearts of gold. You chuckle to yourself, and the head baker winks as if he's read your thoughts. "Strong arms, soft hearts," he says softly, as if it's a secret only the bread can truly understand. You watch as he tends to the oven once more, each movement unhurried, each breath a quiet prayer. There's a patience here that soothes you, a slow, sleepy rhythm that settles into your bones like a gentle dream. And in the soft glow of the ovens, in the quiet laughter of the bakers, you find a kind of peace. A peace woven from fire and flour, from warm crusts and quiet prayers. The bread here isn't just food. It's a song, a story, a soft, sleepy promise that even in the harshest heat, there is still room for warmth and wonder. And as you close your eyes, letting the scent of baking bread and the gentle murmur of the ovens lull you deeper into this ancient, flower-scented dream, you know you'll carry this moment with you, warm, gentle, and endlessly patient. You drift slowly through the bakery's gentle haze, each breath steeped in the sweet, toasty perfume of fresh bread. Around you, the bakers move in a soft rhythm, their laughter as warm and comforting as the bread they shape. But there's something else here too, something that hums beneath the surface of every loaf and every smile. A quiet truth, that bread, in this ancient world, is more than just food. It's power. You lean against the cool clay wall, watching as the head baker hands a small, round loaf to a young boy, no older than 10. The boy's eyes widen with wonder as he clutches the warm bread to his chest, and you realize that in this place, bread is more than nourishment. It's a currency, a promise, a quiet kind of wealth that can buy a day's labor or a moment of peace. Historians still argue whether these bakeries were truly the heart of Egyptian daily life or merely one piece of a much larger puzzle. Some say the bread was payment for work done in the fields, others that it was a tax, a tribute to the gods or the pharaoh himself. But here, in the gentle hush of the ovens, it doesn't matter. You can feel it in the way the bakers handle each loaf, in the quiet reverence with which they shape each round. Bread is life. The head baker meets your gaze and smiles, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "We measure our days in loaves," he says softly, his voice low and rich as the river's song. Each one a promise kept, a belly filled, a soul at peace. You nod, feeling the quiet weight of his words settle over you like the warm press of the dough. The apprentices move with slow, practiced ease, stacking loaves in neat rows. Some for the workers in the fields, some for the priests in the temples, some for the children who watch with wide, hungry eyes. Every loaf is carefully counted, every crumb accounted for. In this world of sand and sun, bread is a language everyone speaks. You trail your fingers across a stack of loaves, feeling the faint ridges where the dough split and rose in the heat of the oven. Each one is slightly different, some a little darker, some a little rounder, but all of them share the same quiet beauty, the same soft promise of fullness and comfort. You wonder at the quiet power of it, how something as simple as bread can shape lives, forge bonds, and feed dreams. Outside, the river glints in the midday sun, its slow, steady current a gentle counterpoint to the hush of the bakery. You watch as a young girl comes in from the fields, her arms dusted with chaff and sweat, her eyes bright with hunger and hope. The head baker greets her with a smile and hands her a small loaf, still warm from the oven. She cradles it carefully, as if it's the most precious thing in the world, and maybe it is. A soft joke drifts from the back of the bakery, where an apprentice is carefully arranging loaves on a reed mat. "Careful," he says with a grin. "Drop one and it'll cost you a week's pay." The others laugh, the sound low and easy, and you find yourself smiling too. Here, even the smallest crumb has weight. Every bite a quiet promise that tomorrow will be just a little bit softer. You watch as the bakers continue their work, their movements slow and deliberate, each loaf placed just so, each stack a small monument to the power of patience and care. The head baker hums softly to himself, the tune lost to the warm, yeasty air, and you feel yourself drifting deeper into the gentle rhythm of the bakery. There's a sense of quiet purpose here, a kind of slow magic that binds every baker to every loaf. You see it in the way the flour dusts their hair and clings to their skin, in the way their hands move without hurry or hesitation. It's a ritual as old as the river itself, a soft prayer to the sun and the earth and the quiet power of a full belly. And in that warm, sleepy hush, you feel a kind of peace, a soft, golden glow that seeps into your bones and settles there like a promise. The head baker glances over at you, his eyes twinkling with a gentle humor. "A loaf for your thoughts?" he teases, and you laugh softly, the sound blending with the quiet music of the ovens and the river's gentle sigh. You know now that bread here is more than just a meal. It's a thread that ties this small, sunlit bakery to the wide, endless world beyond. It's the slow heartbeat of a people who've learned that sometimes the simplest things hold the greatest power. And as you close your eyes, the scent of fresh bread and the soft rustle of the river weaving around you like a lullaby, you realize that you're not just standing in a bakery. You're standing in the heart of a civilization, a place where every loaf is a testament to patience, to care, and to the quiet, endless strength of those who feed the world, one sleepy crumb at a time. The sun has started its slow descent, casting long shadows across the bakery's earthen floor as the day softens around you. Outside, the Nile glitters like burnished gold, but inside, the air is still thick with the scent of warm bread and quiet laughter. You lean back against the rough clay wall, feeling the coolness of it seep into your skin, a gentle counterpoint to the heat of the ovens. You take a bite of a fresh loaf, still warm, its crust crisp and inviting, and immediately you feel it, that faint, familiar crunch between your teeth. A tiny frown flickers across your face. Sand. You chew carefully, feeling the delicate grit of ancient Egypt's eternal companion. The river brings life, but it also brings sand. Every breath, every bite, a reminder that even the simplest pleasure carries a trace of the desert's stubborn heart. One of the bakers notices your thoughtful expression and chuckles softly. "First time?" he asks, his grin soft and knowing. You nod sheepishly, and he gestures to the open doorway, where the river glides past in a sleepy shimmer. "The Nile gives, the Nile takes," he says with a shrug. "Even our bread carries a bit of the river's gift." Historians still debate just how much sand the average Egyptian ate in their lifetime. Some say it was enough to wear their teeth down to smooth nubs by middle age. Others claim it was simply a fact of life, something no one bothered to complain about because, well, what choice was there? You smile at the thought, feeling the faint crunch again as you take another careful bite. It's oddly comforting, in a way, this small, gritty reminder that even the most perfect loaf is touched by the river's patient hand. You watch the apprentices moving slowly between the ovens, their feet stirring up small puffs of flour and sand as they go. It's a quiet dance, a soft, shuffling rhythm that seems to blend with the low murmur of the river and the gentle sigh of the wind through the reeds. You find yourself swaying slightly, lulled by the hush of it all, your eyelids growing heavy with the slow, sweet weight of a world that moves at the river's pace. A small joke drifts through your mind, something about the world's oldest exfoliant hiding in your breakfast. You stifle a sleepy chuckle, the sound blending with the soft laughter of the bakers as they work. They've lived with this gentle grit their whole lives, learned to see it not as a flaw, but as a quiet testament to the river's endless gift. One of the women working near the oven smiles at you, her hands deft as she shapes another round of dough. "The sand keeps us humble," she says softly, her voice warm and a little teasing. "Reminds us that even the gods can't make a perfect loaf." You nod, feeling the gentle truth of her words settle around you like the warm glow of the setting sun. You drift closer to the open door, the air cooler here, touched by the river's breath. You can see the small boats drifting lazily along the water, their sails catching the last of the golden light. A soft breeze carries the scent of wet earth and sun-warmed reeds, a sleepy perfume that wraps around you like a whispered lullaby. Inside, the bakers continue their work, their movements slow and deliberate. The apprentices share quiet jokes as they brush sand from the loaves' crusts, their laughter as soft as the river's sigh. The head baker catches your eye and winks, his hands never stopping their steady dance. "Even the pharaoh himself can't keep the sand out," he says with a smile. "So why should we try?" You let the soft, sleepy rhythm of the bakery wash over you, the gentle scrape of sand beneath your fingers, the warm weight of the bread in your hands. It's a kind of music, you think, a quiet song woven from water and earth, fire and patience. And as the last light of the sun fades into the soft blue of twilight, you feel yourself drifting deeper into this ancient lullaby. You close your eyes, the faint crunch of sand and the soft, yeasty sweetness of the bread mingling on your tongue. You can almost hear the river's voice in the distance, a low, gentle murmur that speaks of centuries slipping past like grains of sand through an open hand. And in that quiet, sandy hush, you find a kind of peace, a sleepy, flower-dusted promise that even in the harshest deserts, there is still warmth and sweetness to be found. The head baker's voice drifts over to you, low and soft as the river's song. "Eat slow," he says with a smile. "Let the river's gift remind you where you are." You nod, the soft crunch of the sand a gentle reminder that here, in this warm, sleepy bakery, even the smallest bite carries a story older than memory. The sun has begun its slow descent, gilding the Nile in liquid gold as it slips beyond the horizon. Inside the bakery, the light softens to a warm, dusky glow, flickering across the soot-darkened walls like a gentle promise. The ovens crackle quietly, their heat wrapping around you like a heavy, comforting blanket. You let yourself sink deeper into this cozy hush, your breath slowing to match the soft rhythm of the baker's movements. The day's labors are nearly done, and the bakery has taken on a different kind of quiet, a hush that feels almost sacred, as if the air itself has grown heavy with the promise of sleep. You watch as the last loaves are pulled from the ovens, their crusts dark and fragrant, each one a small testament to the day's patient work. The apprentices gather near the door, their faces glowing in the soft light of oil lamps. One of them, her eyes bright and a little shy, offers you a small loaf, still warm from the oven. You cradle it in your hands, feeling the gentle give of the crust, the soft weight of it as comforting as a whispered goodnight. You smile, murmuring a quiet thank you that seems to drift out into the soft blue dusk. Outside, the river sighs in the gathering dark, its gentle murmur a lullaby that drifts through the open door. You step closer to the threshold, feeling the cool breath of evening on your face. The sky is a soft, endless blue, scattered with the first faint stars, each one a tiny, flickering light that seems to echo the warmth of the ovens. Historians still wonder how these nights would have felt for the bakers, whether they found comfort in the slow hush of evening, or if they dreamed of distant lands and other rivers, other ovens. You like to think they felt a quiet pride, a soft satisfaction that settled into their bones like the river's own sleepy song. Inside, the bakers move slowly now, their laughter low and easy as they clean the last of the flour from the wooden boards. The head baker leans against the oven's warm curve, his arms folded and his eyes half closed in the soft light. "This is my favorite time," he says, his voice a slow, sleepy drawl. "The work is done, the bread is baked, and the night is ours." You smile at the simple truth of it, feeling the gentle weight of the day settle over your shoulders. It's a comfort you didn't know you needed, the soft hush of a day well spent, the quiet promise of rest. One of the apprentices lights a small oil lamp, its glow casting long shadows that dance across the flour-dusted floor. The flickering light glints off the edges of the ovens, catching the faint shimmer of sand still clinging to the loaves. It's a soft, golden haze that feels like a dream, each breath a sleepy sigh of warmth and quiet joy. A soft joke bubbles up from one of the bakers as he flicks a bit of flour from his tunic. "Careful," he says with a grin, "or the bread will think you're trying to steal its bed." The others chuckle, their voices low and warm, the sound weaving into the slow music of the evening. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the gentle glow of the oil lamps wash over you. The crackle of the ovens, the soft murmur of the river, the low, sweet laughter of the bakers. It all blends into a lullaby that tugs at the edges of your mind, coaxing you deeper into this warm, flower-scented haze. And as you lean back against the doorframe, the loaf still warm in your hands, you find yourself drifting, half dreaming, half awake, into the soft, sleepy night. The Nile whispers in the darkness, a low, endless song that carries you forward, each breath a quiet promise of rest and peace. You smile, feeling the slow rhythm of the bakery settle into your bones like the river's own heartbeat. Here, in this warm, sleepy place, the world has narrowed to the simple magic of bread and laughter, of fire and flour and the quiet comfort of knowing that even in the dark, there is warmth to be found. And as the last light of the sun slips beneath the horizon, you let the gentle glow of the ovens and the soft hush of the bakers' voices lull you deeper into this ancient dream. A dream woven from yeast and river water, from laughter and soft, endless night. The last of the loaves has been stacked neatly on the broad wooden shelves, each one a sleepy monument to the quiet magic of the day. You watch as the bakers lean back, wiping the sweat and flour from their brows, their shoulders drooping in the soft glow of the oil lamps. The ovens still crackle softly, their warmth a gentle, persistent hum that seems to echo in your bones. The head baker calls for a moment of rest, and the apprentices gather near the back wall, settling down on low benches worn smooth by years of weary bodies. You join them, sinking into the soft wood with a sigh, the heat of the oven at your back and the scent of fresh bread in the air. It's a cozy, comforting hush, the kind that wraps around you like a soft blanket and whispers that, for now, everything is exactly as it should be. A young girl passes around a small bowl of honey, the thick, golden syrup catching the flickering light and glinting like the river at dawn. You take a bit of bread, still warm from the oven, and tear off a piece, dipping it into the honey with slow, deliberate care. The sweetness blooms across your tongue, soft and gentle, a quiet contrast to the earthy bread. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the simple pleasure wash over you like the river's cool breath. One of the apprentices, his voice low and a little shy, leans in to share an old story, how the pharaoh himself was said to favor bread dipped in honey as a late-night treat. Historians still argue whether this was true or just a sweet little legend, but you like the idea of the most powerful man in Egypt pausing to savor the same simple sweetness you're tasting now. The bakers share quiet laughter as they talk, their voices low and easy in the warm glow of the lamps. It's a gentle music, a sleepy chorus that blends with the soft crackle of the ovens, and the river's distant murmur. You find yourself swaying with it, your eyelids growing heavy, each breath slower and deeper as you sink further into the warm, honey-sweet haze of the bakery. A small joke drifts from one of the older bakers, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Careful, he warns with a grin. Too much honey and you'll start dreaming of pharaohs demanding more. The others laugh, their voices a soft, warm ripple that seems to smooth the last rough edges of the day. You lean back against the wall, the gentle glow of the lamps flickering across your face. The bakery has taken on a soft, golden stillness, the kind that makes every breath feel like a gentle sigh. You can almost imagine the river just beyond the doorway, its slow song weaving around the walls like a sleepy promise. The young apprentice next to you hums a little tune as he dips another bit of bread into the honey, his voice barely more than a whisper in the warm air. It's a lullaby older than memory, a soft, meandering song that seems to echo the slow, patient rhythm of the ovens and the river's gentle current. You let the sound wash over you, your own breath falling into step with the quiet music. In this small, warm moment, the world outside seems to fade away, the hard edges of the day softening into the gentle blur of lamplight and laughter. You feel the weight of the bread in your hand, the slow sweetness of the honey on your tongue, and the soft, steady heartbeat of the bakery pulsing around you. The head baker leans back with a contented sigh, his eyes half closed as he lets the warmth of the ovens seep into his bones. "There's nothing better," he says softly, "than the taste of honey on a night like this." You nod, your own sleepy smile a mirror of his quiet contentment. And as the last of the honey is shared, the last crumb of bread savored, you find yourself drifting once more, half asleep, half awake, into the soft, golden night. The river's lullaby hums in your ears, the crackle of the ovens a warm counterpoint to the gentle hush of the baker's voices. Here, in this quiet, honey-sweet hush, you feel the day's last light slip away, replaced by the soft glow of memory and dreams. And as you close your eyes, the taste of honey still lingering on your tongue, you know that even in the smallest, sleepiest moments, there is a kind of magic waiting to be found. A magic as warm and gentle as the night itself. The warmth of the ovens fades slowly as the night deepens around you, each breath of the bakery's sweet air a little softer, a little cooler. You sit quietly, the soft weight of sleep pressing gently on your shoulders, and watch as the last of the honey is cleaned away, the bowls stacked carefully in the flickering light. The women of the bakery move with a quiet, unhurried grace, their hands deft and sure as they finish the evening's work. You watch them, their faces soft in the lamplight, their laughter low and easy as they share a story in gentle voices. It's a sleepy, secret world here, one where every loaf carries a whisper of their patience and care. One of them, her hair bound in a simple linen scarf, catches your eye and smiles. "Bread is women's work too," she says softly, her voice low and sure. "Always has been." Historians still argue about the division of labor in these ancient bakeries, whether men or women held the greater role. But here, in the hush of the ovens and the soft glow of the lamps, it's clear that every loaf carries the touch of women's hands. You watch as she shapes another round of dough, her fingers moving with the slow confidence of a lifetime spent coaxing beauty from flour and water. Each motion is careful, deliberate, a small act of creation that hums with quiet strength. You see it in the way her brow furrows in concentration, in the way her lips curve in a small, secret smile when the dough finally yields to her touch. She tells you how her mother taught her this work, how her grandmother did the same before her. "We need more than bread," she says with a wink. "We need the stories of our families, the shape of our days." You nod, feeling the soft weight of her words settle around you like the warm scent of baking loaves. A small joke drifts from the back of the room, one of the other women laughing as she flicks a bit of flour at her friend. "Careful," she says, her eyes twinkling, "or you'll end up looking like a ghost." The others giggle, the sound a soft, sweet ripple that blends with the crackle of the ovens and the river's quiet murmur beyond the door. You smile, feeling the gentle humor of it wrap around you like a soft blanket. Even in this world of flour and fire, there's room for laughter, for small, sleepy jokes that ease the weight of the day. You let it wash over you, your breath slowing, your eyelids growing heavy as the warm, flower-scented air works its quiet magic. The head baker moves among the women, his voice low and warm as he offers a quiet word of praise here, a gentle correction there. You can see the respect in his eyes, the way he pauses to watch the women's hands move, each motion a small miracle of patience and care. There's no question here of who holds the power. Every loaf, every crumb speaks of it in the soft hush of the ovens and the easy laughter of the women who shape them. You lean back against the cool clay wall, the glow of the lamps flickering softly across your face. The river's song drifts through the open door, a low, endless lullaby that hums in your bones. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the soft warmth of the bakery settle around you. A gentle promise that even in the darkness, there is still light, still warmth, still laughter. One of the women sits down beside you, her fingers dusted white with flour. She offers you a small piece of bread, warm and soft, and you take it with a quiet thank you. She smiles, her eyes gentle and kind. "Eat," she says softly. "Sleep will find you soon enough." You bite into the bread, the crust crackling softly beneath your teeth, the crumb tender and sweet on your tongue. It tastes of warmth and patience, of laughter and gentle hands. It tastes of the quiet strength of the women who shaped it, and of the slow, steady heartbeat of the river that feeds them all. And in that soft, sleepy hush, you feel the day's last light slip away, replaced by the gentle glow of memory and dreams. You know that here, in this warm, flower-dusted world, every loaf carries a story, and every story, a promise that even in the darkness, there is still comfort to be found. The night has grown deep and soft around you, the bakery's warm glow holding back the cool darkness that waits beyond the doorway. You lean into the gentle hush, feeling the last heat of the ovens soak into your skin, your breath slowing to match the quiet rhythm of the baker's movements. There's a kind of peace here, a slow, steady magic that seeps into your bones like a lullaby. You listen as the apprentices gather near the ovens, sharing stories in low voices that drift through the flower-scented air. Some of the tales are as old as the river, soft, dreamy legends of how the first loaf was born from the tears of the gods or the laughter of the Nile. Others are more mischievous, half-sung jokes about crocodiles stealing loaves and river spirits demanding tribute in crusts and crumbs. Historians still puzzle over these ancient stories, whether they're the fading echoes of old beliefs or simply the soft comfort of a good tale told in the glow of the ovens. You like the idea that it's both myth and truth, flour and water, all kneaded together into something warm and comforting. You watch as the head baker leans back against the cool clay wall, his eyes half closed as he listens to the apprentice's gentle laughter. There's a small smile on his lips, a quiet amusement that seems to settle the air even further. "We tell these stories," he says softly, "because bread itself is a kind of myth, half magic, half memory." One of the apprentices, her hair slipping loose from its tie, grins as she shapes another small loaf. "Then let's tell a new one," she says, her voice low and playful. "A story for tonight. A story of sleepy bread and sleepy rivers, and how we're all a little bit of both." You smile at the gentle humor of it, feeling the soft weight of the bakery's warmth settle deeper around your shoulders. It's a sleepy, flower-dusted world here, where even the smallest crumb carries a story, and every loaf is a quiet promise that there's always something sweet to be found in the dark. A small joke drifts from the back of the room, one of the older bakers chuckling as he brushes flour from his tunic. "Careful with those stories," he warns with a wink. "Tell too many, and you'll have the bread dreaming of becoming a cake." The others laugh, the sound low and sweet, a soft echo of the river's gentle murmur beyond the door. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the warmth of the ovens and the soft crackle of the fire lull you deeper into this ancient dream. The river's song hums in your ears, a low, endless melody that seems to blend with the quiet laughter of the bakers and the soft, sleepy rustle of the loaves as they cool. You think of the stories you've heard tonight, of gods and rivers, of laughter and loss, of the quiet, steady magic that turns flour and water into something warm and alive. You think of the gentle strength of the women's hands, the patient wisdom of the head baker's slow smile, and the soft promise of the river's endless flow. And in that quiet, honey-sweet hush, you feel the soft threads of the world weaving themselves around you. Each breath a gentle promise, each crumb a small, sleepy hope. You lean back against the wall, your eyelids heavy, your thoughts drifting like the river's slow current. The head baker catches your gaze, his eyes soft in the lamplight. "The truth," he says softly, "is that every loaf is a story half told. We shape it, we bake it, but the rest belongs to the night." You nod, your breath slow and easy, the soft weight of sleep pressing against the edges of your mind. Here, in this warm, flower-dusted world, you feel the gentle power of those half-told stories, of the quiet, sleepy magic that binds bread and river, laughter and dreams, into something that feels like home. And as the last of the laughter fades into the hush of the ovens, you let yourself drift deeper into that soft, golden glow, knowing that even in the dark, there is warmth and wonder to be found. The night is deep now, the bakery's soft glow standing like a warm island in the darkness. You feel the gentle weight of sleep pressing into your bones, each breath a slow sigh as you watch the final tasks of the evening play out. The apprentices move with quiet care, stacking baskets of cooled loaves near the doorway, their laughter hushed to a soft murmur that blends with the river's endless whisper. You lean against the cool clay wall, your fingers tracing the faint ridges where countless hands have pressed over the years. Every mark is a story, every worn edge a memory of the thousands of loaves that have risen and fallen in this warm, sleepy place. You feel the slow hum of it in your bones, the quiet, patient rhythm of bread and bakers, fire and river, that has shaped this world for centuries. The head baker moves among the apprentices, his steps slow and deliberate, each motion a soft punctuation to the hush of the ovens. He nods in quiet approval as they finish the last of the cleaning, his eyes soft with the satisfaction of a day's work done well. "The bread sleeps now," he says with a wry smile, his voice low and gentle. "And so will we." You watch as he lifts the last loaf, holding it in his hands for a moment as if to memorize its shape, its weight, the faint, sweet scent of its crust. He sets it gently on the shelf, the final offering of the night, and you feel the soft weight of that gesture settle around your heart like a warm blanket. Historians still wonder about these final, quiet moments, whether they were seen as a simple pause in the endless cycle of work, or as something more, a kind of gentle farewell to the day's labor and a soft promise to begin again tomorrow. You think it must be both, a sleepy sigh that says, "We're done," and a soft, hopeful hum that says, "We'll start again." The apprentices begin to drift out into the cool night, their footsteps soft in the flower-dusted doorway. They murmur quiet goodnights to one another, their voices low and sleepy, and you feel the gentle pull of the river's song tugging at the edges of your mind. A small joke drifts from the doorway as one of the bakers pauses to slip a tiny loaf into his tunic. "A little snack for the gods," he says with a grin, his eyes twinkling. The others laugh softly, the sound blending with the soft crackle of the ovens and the river's low, endless sigh. You smile, feeling the gentle humor of it settle around you like the warm glow of the lamps. Even here, in the slow hush of the night, there is room for laughter, for small, sleepy jokes that ease the weight of the dark. The head baker steps outside, the cool night air swirling around him as he gazes out at the river's slow, patient flow. "The Nile is our heartbeat," he says softly, half to himself, half to the night. "It carries our hopes, our fears, our stories." You follow his gaze, the river shimmering in the moonlight, its surface rippling with the soft promise of dreams. You take one last look at the bakery, the soft, flickering light of the lamps, the gentle sigh of the ovens, the quiet pride in the baker's eyes, and you know that here, in this warm, flower-dusted world, every crumb carries a story. Every loaf is a promise, a quiet prayer for tomorrow, and a soft, sleepy farewell to the day that's been. And as you step out into the cool embrace of the night, the last warmth of the ovens still clinging to your skin, you feel the soft promise of that final loaf settle around you like a lullaby, A quiet, gentle hope that even in the darkness, there is still light. That even in the hush of the night, there is still warmth to be found. The night has grown soft and still around you, the quiet hum of the bakery fading into the gentle sigh of the river's slow song. You stand for a moment in the cool darkness just beyond the doorway, your breath a small cloud of warmth against the soft, endless hush. The river glimmers in the moonlight, each ripple a sleepy lullaby that weaves itself around your thoughts like a gentle embrace. You take one last glance back at the bakery, the flickering lamplight casting long shadows that dance across the walls. Inside, the last of the bakers gather their tools, their laughter low and easy as they share one final joke. You watch as the head baker lifts a small, round loaf from the shelf, cradling it in his hands like a final farewell. He catches your eye, his smile soft and knowing. "Every crumb," he says quietly, "is a promise." You nod, feeling the soft weight of those words settle into your chest like the warmth of the ovens. You know he's right. Every loaf, every bite, every sleepy sigh is a promise that even in the darkness, there is still light. That even in the quiet hush of the night, there is still warmth to be found. You step out into the night, the soft crunch of sand beneath your feet and the slow, steady breath of the river at your side. The air is cool against your skin, each breath a gentle kiss that tastes of moonlight and the faint sweetness of honey still lingering on your tongue. You feel the soft weight of sleep tugging at your eyelids, each step a slow drift closer to dreams. The baker's voices fade behind you, replaced by the low murmur of the river and the soft rustle of reeds in the moonlit breeze. You let those gentle sounds carry you forward, each breath a quiet promise that you're not alone. That here, in this warm, flower-dusted world, every crumb of bread, every whispered story, is a thread that ties you to the endless rhythm of the river and the patient heartbeat of the land. Historians still wonder how these quiet nights shaped the dreams of the ancient world, whether they left the bakers and the bread sellers drifting into sleep with the river's song in their ears, or whether they carried those soft, flower-scented memories like gentle prayers into the dawn. You like to think it's both, a slow, sleepy magic that weaves itself through every dream, every hope, every promise that tomorrow will come. You pause for a moment, feeling the soft hush of the night settle around you, the cool air, the quiet song of the river, the lingering scent of warm bread and honey. It's all a lullaby now, each breath a slow, gentle note that carries you deeper into the soft, endless hush of sleep. You close your eyes, your thoughts drifting like the river's slow current. And in that quiet darkness, you find yourself tracing every crumb of memory from the bakery. The laughter, the soft glow of the ovens, the patient hands of the women shaping the dough. Each memory a gentle step closer to the soft, warm promise of rest. You know now that even in the hush of night, even in the soft darkness that settles around the world, there is still warmth to be found. There is still laughter, still light, still the quiet, endless strength of hands that shape bread from water and flour and hope. And as you finally let go, the river's song weaving itself into the soft hush of your breath, you feel the gentle weight of sleep settle over you like a warm, flower-dusted blanket. A final, soft promise that even in the dark, there is light. That even in the silence, there is still the quiet, patient magic of bread and dreams. The night has deepened into a soft, endless hush, the stars above winking gently in the dark sky. The Nile's low, steady murmur drifts around you, a slow lullaby that seems to breathe in time with your own sleepy sighs. Each breath feels softer now, each thought slower and easier, as if the world itself has curled up to rest. You let the last warmth of the bakery fade into memory, the scent of bread and honey lingering like a half-forgotten dream. Your mind drifts back to the quiet laughter of the bakers, the soft glow of the ovens, the patient hands that shaped each loaf with care and love. Each memory is a small, gentle comfort, a warm whisper in the cool darkness. The river flows on, its slow song weaving around your thoughts like a soft, endless promise. You feel it in the gentle weight of your limbs, in the slow, even beat of your heart. A quiet, steady rhythm that lulls you deeper into rest. The world has grown so soft, so still, that even the faint crunch of sand beneath your feet feels like a gentle hush. Let the last light of the lamps fade into the soft blue of the night. Let the quiet laughter and the warm glow of the bakery slip away, each breath carrying you deeper into the gentle dark. There's no rush here, no need to hold on. Just the slow drift of your breath and the soft murmur of the river, guiding you gently into sleep. And as you finally let go, the warm memory of the bread and the soft promise of the Nile wrap around you like a lullaby. A quiet, endless whisper that even in the darkness, there is still light. That even in the soft hush of night, there is still warmth to be found.